What's up, everyone? Welcome on back to another episode of Golf on Tap. Today, we'll be breaking down the 2023 Rocket Mortgage Classic up in Detroit, Michigan. As the PGA Tour heads to the northwest, after being out in Connecticut for the Travelers Championship last week, the final designated event of the season. Now we do hit a little bit of a lull in the schedule here with the Rocket Mortgage Classic this week, the John Deere Classic next week, the Scottish Open. It's a little bit of a dead stretch around the game of golf right now, but we do have undoubtedly the best field in tournament history at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Now, I know this is only the 5th edition of this tournament, but pretty impressive field here considering the event and considering what we've seen here in the past couple of years. So maybe that'll lead to a little bit more intrigue around this tournament. As always, I'm Jack Bushman here with my co-host at Joey Knows Nothing. Joey, how you doing, brother? I know last week in particular was not the show's finest week in terms of our betting cards, as you had Brian Harman going into the weekend, who had a little bit of a sniff, came T2, I believe, after kind of having a good Sunday, but never truly was in contention. For your boy over here, it was truthfully, put my head in the sand time, one of the worst cards I've ever put together since golf betting. And quite honestly, I felt pretty good about my breakdown of the Travelers Championship and all the research that I put in. So last week was a little bit of a kick in the pants and just a reminder truly how tough this business is sometimes when you're trying to find outrights in golf. But Joey, how you doing, my man, as we're back here for this week's Rocket Mortgage Classic? How you feeling?
Feeling good, Jack. You kind of talked about last week, obviously, and Keegan, man.
Woo.
Keegan, your boy, notched the W, and we weren't on him. That's absolutely crushing. I liked him last week. I really did, and I just thought he wasn't quite ready yet or to that level where he has been in the past, but apparently he was. You mentioned the little sniff there with Brian Harman. I feel like it was, it's like one of those samplers when you go to the store and you got the cologne over there and you just like spray it on something, you get a little whiff, but you can't take it home with you. That was Brian Harman, I think, this past weekend, and he kind of snuck in. It was a little weasel. His theatrics were in full effect. The weasel popped up and finished T2, but dude, it didn't feel like that the entire time. I felt like I had a horrible card, just like you. Not a whole lot went right. Eric Cole, top 40. That's just a lock nowadays. That's about it, man. I think I took Eric Cole over Seamus Power too in a head-to-head, and we didn't talk about that on air. But outrights did not hit last week, so you can see it in my name right here. Can we get an outright? Because I don't know if I said that last week, and I usually always say that. I might have said that. Who knows? But do you think we can get an outright this week, Jack? Can we turn it around? Can we do it?
Man, I'm hoping so. This is an event that I have won before. It's actually where my second career golf betting outright occurred, as Bryson DeChambeau won this tournament a couple of years back. And it's actually where he first kind of deployed the bomb and gouge strategy that we saw him use successfully at Winged Foot when he won the U.S. Open. This was really it was one of the first events back after the COVID layoff, and that's really when Bryson put on all of that weight. So, maybe we can have some of that juju coming over from 2021 to help us out in this year's edition of the tournament. But yeah, you mentioned Keegan in the Northeast, man. Honestly, we talked about him for a brief moment on the show, but probably one that we should have been on. Me in particular, as someone who is a pretty good, pretty big Keegan backer myself. Obviously, we both hit him at the Zozo, but while it was, kind of his own half a major, I guess you could call it. I mean, being an event that he grew up going to and talking about how much it means to him being from the Northeast. Obviously, watching him walk down the 18th fairway and just absolutely selling with the crowd and going nuts when he got the win was a pretty cool moment. We probably should have been on Keegan in the Northeast. That's like one of those outrights that you feel like you let slip out of your grasp a little bit. And sometimes, you just get beat by a guy that you weren't on or you didn't see coming. This one felt like one we really should have been on, Joey. But I'm happy for Keegan, of course, as a big Keegan guy. I love to see him winning these type of events and adding another good victory to his resume. So happy for Keegan, a little upset that we weren't on it ourselves. But on to the next one, and we're moving on to Detroit Golf Club here this week, which is the host of the Rocket Mortgage Classic, something that we haven't seen very often, just because it is a newer host venue on the PGA Tour. So I think this is also going to be kind of a tough tournament to dive into and to get an outright with, just because, as I'll mention here more in a second, it is kind of an up for grabs tournament. But man, it would feel good to get one here and kind of get ready to head into the final major in a couple of weeks in the right direction now.
Yeah, man. I'm actually kind of feeling the same way that I felt last week, where I truly just didn't know who to go for. And then you start feeling a little bit better as the week rolls on, and then as you get close to the tournament. Right now I'm still very much in that phase of like, I really don't know what direction to take. And I kind of feel like, you're going to obviously break down your key stats, what you're looking for, what you were targeting for this week, and what you found over the course of time for this course. But I feel like I'm taking more of a just kind of a gut feel, looking at the putters too. But it's like, it's so wonky. Like I hate doing that. Just mostly going for that. But yeah, man, talking about Keegan, just real quickly though, I want to bring it up on the show for anybody that's listening or watching. If you missed it, yeah, as my phone just completely just, yeah, that's the alarm to tell me to hurry the fuck up with the show and just stop talking about Keegan. But yeah, Keegan, dude, I don't know. I know you saw the video, him with that trophy. Apparently, he's like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to take this trophy, but it was a display one. But if you got a problem with it, he like pulled the clip from the town. I live in 551 Bunker Hill. You can stop by at any time. Like, I just love that. Keegan showing a little personality, man. I think it's good for the game. Anytime you get somebody that's winning, playing well, like you said, going down the 18th and just getting into it with the fans, and
it was awesome. It was like Happy Gilmore after hitting a shot. He was feeling himself, dude.
Hell yeah. Oh, speaking of too, there's a Happy Gilmore. I didn't know there was a Happy Gilmore that just committed. That's actually a golfer committed. Where did he commit? I don't know where he committed. I forgot.
Ball State.
Was it Ball State? Okay.
I believe it's Ball State. But yeah, I guess he's been getting called Happy since he was like 8. That's a side conversation, though.
Side conversation. Yeah, sorry. All right, we're real golf here, PGA Tour. But yeah, looking to this week, man. You mentioned it, Detroit Golf Club. The Donald Ross design here. You've been targeting someone very particular for a long time here at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. The course is extremely flat. It's bentgrass greens, so 17 holes from the north course, 1 from the south course. Past years, we've seen Tony Finau last year win it with a 26 under. And then you talked about Bryson, 23 under a couple years back before that. Nate Lashley, 25 under. Many golfers who play Ross designs do well here, it seems like, too, on a regular basis. So I kind of looked at that a little bit. What'd you find, Jack? What's your breakdown here for this course?
Yeah, you mentioned it's a Donald Ross design. We see a couple of his other courses on the PGA Tour schedule. We'll actually see one coming up in just a couple of weeks for the Wyndham Championship, as Sedgefield Country Club is another one of his designs, along with East Lake, which is the host venue for the PGA Tour Championship, of course. But I think the biggest thing that you outlined too is how flat of a course this is. It does stretch 73, just short of 7,400 yards, and it is played as a par 72. But there's not a whole lot of elevation, and you're not hitting up hills very often. So even on some of these longer holes, which there's only 5 of the 10 par 4s coming over 450 yards, they're really not that challenging because there is an elevation and guys are able to poke it out a little bit further here. It's a driver-friendly course. You see the average drives at Detroit Golf Club in the past 4 years, they have averaged 10 yards further than what the PGA Tour average is on most courses. So most guys are just able to rip driver here and hit it pretty far. They're semi-wide fairways, kind of similar to what we saw at the Travelers Championship last week. They have, I've heard, grown out the rough a little bit here to try to give this course some defense, but you just outlined the winning scores. 3 of the 4 years have reached at least 23 under, and apparently Hearing from some of the players talk about the course as well, it's playing a little bit softer than it has in past years. And Tony Finau even said himself the winning score might reach 30 under this week. So it's truly everything about this course, Joey, is easy. Hitting the fairways, easy. You're able to use your driver and kind of, especially on the back nine. The back nine is way more wide open than the front. The front has tree line fairways a little bit, so you can't quite be as wayward. But for the most part on this course, you can kind of just bomb and gouge. There's a couple strategies that we've seen go into effect here. Both of them, though, do include putting. We've seen Tony Finau and Bryson DeChambeau, both guys who like to just absolutely rip their driver. There's not a whole lot of penalty for missing the fairway here. So they've been able to kind of get by with that strategy. And also just because of the lack of distance of this course, kind of like last week at the Travelers too, there are just going to be so many shots coming from inside 175 yards. So there's going to be a lot of wedges, a lot of short irons. Hitting greens in regulation here is easy. The proximity is closer to the hole than it is for most courses. So it really is the true definition of a birdie fest. I don't know if there's another event on the PGA Tour that deserves that nickname more than the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So it is kind of a course that you can attack in different ways, tee to green, and that's why I don't think there's kind of a end-all be-all structure of a golfer that you want to go at this week, which kind of makes it even more confusing. But one thing in particular that's for sure going to be important is putting. This is one of the courses on tour where putting success determines your outcome. It has a higher correlation than basically any other courses on the PGA Tour. So putting inside from 20 feet, I would say if you're someone who doesn't have incredible distance, short irons and wedges and a clean fairway game, or you can also go the bomb and gouge strategy. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about Detroit Golf Club, but just know it is very attackable. It's going to produce a ton of birdies. There are also 5 par 5s that are under 425 yards. 3 of the 4 par 5s aren't going to be challenging for the field. And 2 par 3s are shorter than 192 yards. So there's a lot of attackable holes. There's going to be a lot of birdies. And it really does seem like it's going to come down to who can kind of roll the rock the best. That's kind of what we've seen in years past. So it's a putting contest this week, Joey. That's what we have on our hands.
Before I say what I'm thinking, I'm going to ask you a question. In your article, by the way, go ahead and check that out on tapsportsnet.com. Jack does it every week. Most of the time he's doing 2. In your article, did you outline par 5 scoring at all?
I do think it's important, but I think it's kind of a toughie because I do think it's going to be absolutely crucial, and whoever is in contention, majority of them are going to be dominating these par 5s. I just don't know how you can really parse through that when this is an easier course. Your distance can be a little bit longer here, and most of these guys, if you're not scoring on the par 5s, you're not going to be there anyway. So it's kind of like
you're saying exactly what I was thinking, though, because I've seen a lot. And the reason why I asked that is because I haven't read the article yet. Usually I try to avoid as much of your content as I can until we get on here. So it's just fresh. And then I could take that and then I can go back and look and kind of apply things. But the reason why I asked that is because I've seen a lot of hype around, or not hype, but like people using it as key stats this week in different content that I've absorbed leading up to the show, and they've outlined par 5 scoring. And I'm kind of the same thought process as you. If you're not scoring on those par 5s, you're probably screwed. Like, that's just kind of a spade, as like Ron Luce always says on the Cubs on Tap shows, well, any show that he's on. He's on like a million of them here on the On Tap Sports Network. But yeah, dude, I don't think it's like super important because I feel like everybody will be. It's kind of like what I was getting at there. And I wanted to ask ahead of time because like maybe you could have changed my thought process there. But yeah, no, man. Outside of that, any kind of like not final thoughts, but kind of like wrap up thoughts about the course before we go ahead and look at the outrights that we'll be targeting?
Now, just I think the biggest thing is just that it's going to be super gettable. A lot of guys are going to be hitting greens in regulation. Like, it's going to be a high scoring event, which is going to make for, I'm sure, a wonky leaderboard. And I really do think you're going to want to be focusing on guys who have the capability of going low because, shoot, if it's going to play how Tony Finau expects it to, you're probably going to have to be shooting 6, 7 under every day to have a chance. So you're going to want guys who can get hot with the putter, who can go on birdie streaks, who can score a lot, because getting around here and making pars just isn't going to get the job done. You're going to miss the cut if you're making a lot of pars.
Well, we know there's a couple guys here at the top that can definitely fill the cup up with some birdies from time to time. Tony Finau did it last year. He's up there. But the guy that you've been looking forward to for a long time for this tournament is a co-favorite, basically, with Tony Finau. 14-1 seems like the best odds you can get either one of those at, unless you use some type of boost somewhere. 14-1, Ricky Fowler. I cannot believe, like, when's the last time he was a favorite of a tournament? Unless I'm just missing one of these scrub events that he was a part of, that he was but like, he hasn't played good enough golf, it seems like, until recently, to where he could have even been a favorite. So, wow, man, I was not expecting 14-1 Ricky, I gotta say. But let's talk about those two, and we'll throw in Colin Morikawa as well. Those three before we go ahead and before we look to the rest of the board, I think.
I think all three of these guys are intriguing options, and I just kind of outlined Tony Finau's path to victory and kind of what he did last year. My concern with him is just how bad the putter has been here as of late. I mean, he's just on an absolutely brutal stretch with the flat stick. Now, he showed last year that, yeah, he's plenty capable of reaching 25 under par. I just don't know if I'd bet him to turn around the putter that much and make enough putts to get to that score once again at 14-1. And I think Colin Morikawa is interesting too. I probably have the same problem with him as, quite honestly, a lot of these guys up here. I don't know if Morikawa can make enough putts in order to get to that score. Now, he did go 7 under before missing the cut on the number at the Travelers Championship. Really got screwed by a terrible first round. But the ball striking obviously speaks for itself. That's always the conversation around Morikawa. But Ricky's just, you mentioned it, it probably has been, I was thinking in my mind closer to 10 years than it's been 5. Like, I bet Ricky hasn't been a favorite in like 7 or 8 years, if I had to guess. And maybe that's too far back, but golly, it's been a long time since he's been playing this good. Outside of his miscut at the PGA Championship, Joey, he hasn't finished outside of the top 20 since the Arnold Palmer Invitational back in March. He has just been rattling off consistent finishes. We know he can absolutely score in bunches, set the U.S. Open record for the amount of birdies that he made, and I think he did it on Saturday. So we know that Ricky can fill the cup up, and when I'm breaking down a lot of these guys here at the top, Ricky's for sure the one I have the most confidence in that's going to go out there and score. And with this being an easier course compared to what we've seen as of late, and we just saw Ricky, shoot 60 on Saturday at the Travelers as well. We know we can go low, and sure, he could still get himself into trouble here. But as I mentioned, everything about this course is easy, even the scrambling. You don't want to be scrambling here, but I feel like Ricky's not going to get on the bogey train, knock on wood, as bad here as he may at other courses where his volatility may hurt him a little bit. I actually think that this is just such a good fit for him, man. You referenced how I've been saying it for a handful of months now that Ricky should just go play the Rocket Mortgage and go and win that event. Turns out it's actually a deeper field than I would have imagined, but
and he's actually playing it though.
For saying it for so long, I know the 14-1 number is not great. I was hoping to get something around 25-30, but he absolutely killed any hopes of that with what he did on Saturday last week in Connecticut. So I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, because at the end of the day, if Ricky Fowler wins this event and I pass on him because his number was 14-1, if you tell me that on Sunday, I'll always take the money. Just give me the money on Sunday. I don't care what the odds are, right? So sometimes I think even I get caught up with number chasing at the end of the day. And while we have seen a lot of deeper odds guys win recently, I believe in Ricky, and I believe in his game, and I believe in his potential. I've been saying this is the tournament for him for a while now. So I think I kind of just got to suck it up, tough through it. And I can't be missing out here. I would have the worst FOMO ever. And if he goes on to win, it might just be the end of my golf betting days. So I'm going to bet Ricky at 14-1, buddy. I don't love it, but it's going to have to happen.
That would be 2 weeks in a row of FOMO too. And I think that would be like, yeah.
Right. It would be bad.
let's not do the show next week, Joe. That's what you're gonna tell me. Like
It would just be me not learning from my mistakes. Didn't even think about Keegan last week. My boy didn't give him any love. My mistake. I can't do it again this week.
I'm with you, man. If there's one golfer I want to bet at the top, and maybe it's because you've been saying this for so long, so it's just been like kind of like beaten into my brain at this point to look at Ricky Fowler here at this tournament. It's Ricky Fowler, but he's been awesome, and you highlighted all the great points behind it. It's the fact that he can score in bunches, and the fact that out of that group, and Tony too, I do believe in him being able to do that, but again, highlighted the weaknesses lately. It's the putter. I don't trust it. But the fact that he's saying that guys could score 30 under this week, somebody could score 30 under this week, kind of leads me to believe that he's feeling good about where he's at going into this tournament now again. So then I kind of come into the concerns of like, all right, and what am I overthinking here? Like, he just won this event last year. Like, should we still be betting Tony Finau even though he's been through brutal stretches? Because we've seen him kind of overcome all these different obstacles over recent years now. So I don't know, man. I'm not looking at the top though. To me, it's just as gross as this tournament is, and like as like unknown as there is about the course, or like almost anybody gets that feeling of anybody can kind of win as long as your putter's kind of scorching hot. Kind of leads me to fade both of those two guys at the top, even though I really don't like it. Same goes for Morikawa, but again, I don't see him being the guy that's just going to birdie, because his short game can be very hit and miss. A lot of times miss. But so I don't trust Morikawa in a tournament like this. I really don't. Now we're going to need that putter and everything else behind it. So I'm just fading the top here, Jack. I know that's probably not the best strategy to do, and this kind of like the rest of the field. I know it's a good tournament as far as like it's better this year.
Still not good.
It's still not good. Like you look at the top, and it's very top heavy still. I mean, the fact that JT is 18-1 this week after looking better last week, when he was just, his odds were plummeting week by week by week because he looked awful and people thought he was dead. Like, we were looking at Justin Thomas, like, I think he might be 100-1 soon. Well, if you play this tournament, you're not going to be 100-1 if you're Justin Thomas, but 18-1, I'm still like, I don't know how you're 18-1. So I guess where do you sit, and how do you feel about some of the other guys here? 18-1 Hideki, 18-1 JT, and then Max Homa before we get to that 20 range.
The JT narrative is an interesting one going into this week. I think more so if I was someone who was like betting JT as it grew bigger, if I bet him at the 45, if I bet him at the 55, if I bet him at the 60 last week, then I think I'd be a little more inclined to bet this 18-1. The one thing I will say is Justin Thomas added this tournament to his schedule because he needs FedEx Cup points. For those of you out there who don't know, the FedEx Cup, it used to be they sent the top 120 players in the FedEx Cup to the first leg of the postseason. That's been cut down to 70 this year. And Justin Thomas currently sits 66th in the FedEx Cup standing. So he really needs points just to make the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So this is a very meaningful event for him. He recognizes the situation that he's been in, and last week, I'm sure, was a nice little reminder that, hey, I can still do this. I know it's been a while, but I still got the game to hang with the best of them here in a designated event. Obviously, this is a much weaker field. JT's a toughie, man. I want to bet him there. I just don't love that number. If I were inclined to bet one of these guys, which I probably won't be since I'll get to Ricky at 14-1, it would probably be Hideki for me because I've been steady riding him, and the ball striking and the approach has just been, it's so good. It's so good. And he's another guy who, can he really make enough putts to get the job done here? That's my concern with him as well. But I just think we're starting to see those peak Hideki ball striking numbers once again. He's kind of been plagued by one bad round for like each of these last handful of tournaments. If he can just shed that, he's right there, man. So I think Hideki is probably the one that I like most in this range. Justin Thomas is a close second. Don't even know what to do with Max Homa. Not even thinking about him this week. Honestly, out of sight, out of mind. Can't do it at that number.
He seems like a really good fit here too, though.
He does, and I've heard some comparisons to this being similar structurally, not in terms of how easy the course plays or the tournament plays, to TPC Potomac, where he won the Wells Fargo over Keegan Bradley a couple of years ago. I just can't do it with Max, man. I don't think I can ever bet Max Homa under 20-1. And I believe in Max Homa's hype, but we're not in California, and he kind of, I don't know. I'm just not getting there at that number, man. Can't do it.
I don't blame you. I really don't think it's a bad price, though, all things considered, with the way that this field kind of lines up. But I'm not betting Max Homa either, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, Hideki, I don't know what to do with him because he has been so good striking. JT last week led the field in proximity from the fairway and par 3 scoring.
That's what you want to see from his irons.
His irons were on, man. It looked just like last season. I mean, really. So I don't blame anybody either for betting JT. I just the way he's looked leading up to this, he seems like a guy that, even though he's going to be very hungry this week, just seems like a guy that's just searching for answers and trying to find it. Even though he did rattle it off last week, I just don't see him winning. If he's there in the end, though, he can absolutely shut it down. He's going to close it out probably. But I could see probably like another top 10 is kind of what I'm thinking here from JT. But outside of that, though, as we move on here, Tom Kim 20-1, Sunjay M 20-1, Keegan, your boy 28-1, Cam Davis 33-1, Ludwig Aberg 40-1. That number has come like skyrocketing down, just plummeted. I mean, I don't know where he was at to start the week, but it was not 40-1 from what I saw. Maybe it was 45 or 50, but
bigger.
Was it bigger than that?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. And then the Weasel, of course, the T2 Weasel, backdooring, getting a little sniff. Brian Harmon, 45-1. Where do you sit here? Because I do have some interest in a golfer that I usually, like, when you point him out on these shows, I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't do it. And I don't think you've even been on him much lately at all. Where are you at here?
This is an interesting range, and quite honestly, I could see me passing up this range. I don't trust Tom Kim's putter as much as I love him to death. Just hasn't returned to those spike putting weeks that we saw back in the fall swing, even though he did win his first PGA Tour victory at Sedgefield Country Club, which, as I referenced at the beginning of the show, was also designed by Donald Ross. I don't see me getting to Tom Kim or Sung Jae. I'd like to get back on Keegan, but I just think he had to have gone hard after winning the Travelers last week, man. There's no way Keegan did not go hard after winning his hometown event. I called it basically like a half a major for him. Just don't think I can do it, but he does have some success on Donald Ross courses in the past. I think the one that I like the most is Cam Davis, although he's kind of been all over the place for quite some time. And I honestly don't know if I'd get there. Ludwig was 60-1 to start this week, and he's just been smashed down.
They're all over him, man. They want to hit him before he hits. I mean,
he's good, and he can hit the fuck out of the ball. Can hit the absolute fuck out of the ball. Might take the Bryson and Tony strategy. But, I mean, he's finished top 25 in both of his first 2 PGA Tour starts, and they've both been really solid events. So there's a lot of believers on Ludwig, and I'm one of them too. I think the kid has excellent game. I just don't think I can get there at 40-1 in his third professional PGA Tour start. So it's probably Cam Davis is the look for me, but I honestly don't even know if I'm going to get there. I do think the Weasel fits well on this course. I just can't bet the Weasel.
Yeah, the Weasel does fit well. And oh man,
he's going to weasel his way to like a T3. He'll be like 7 back going into Sunday. He'll be like, fuck, I don't have a chance. And then he'll go shoot like 64 and then he'll end up 2 back. And
what's he at for top 5? Do we know?
I could find out real quick. But tell me who you're thinking about in this range while I do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you with Ludwig. I'm not going to be chasing here. Like, it doesn't feel like chasing because of the finishes he's had so far. I mean, what did you say? This is his third professional start. That to me is still chasing. Like, I don't care who you are. If it's Akshay Bhatia, if he had that much success in his first, 2 events, whatever it was, like that still would be chasing. And not comparing the two by any means, but I would feel a little bit better about some of these other guys who are still considered rookies, right? Like Austin Eckroat. I mean, I would feel a little bit better about that, but even his number's not that great.
Smashed. He opened at 80-1, and I wanted to bet it, and I knew it wasn't going to stay. I just didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get there even 50-1, but yeah, if you had to guess, who would you say would be my guy in this range?
It's Sungjae. It's Sungjae.
It's Sanjay.
It's got to be Sungjae. I knew it.
It's Sanjay, yeah. So I'm using that little booster. Shout out to our not sponsors. The rival book there. I won't even mention which book it's on, but plus 300 boost. Jack knows exactly which one I'm talking about. Sungjae M 23-1. Nice and accurate. One of the top this year in par 5 scoring, which again we said might not be super important here, but 15th in birdie or better rate, second in strokes gained over the past 24 rounds on Donald Ross designed courses. T8 finish here in 2021. I feel like this is a course in a spot in not a super high thought of event where Sanjay can very well sneak up in there and win this thing. Like, I don't trust him on some of the major elevated events and things like that, but place like this might be the Sanjay spot. So,
okay,
yeah, we definitely like his game.
I do, and his last win, I believe, was the Shriners, another shorter style course that gives off a lot of birdies. And I've always said those are the courses that I prefer Sungjae at, like the 71, 7,200 yard courses. Those seem to be where he does his best work. I know he's not really in the best form, and last week even like he was kind of in contention on Saturday, and then he absolutely plummeted on Sunday, and I think finished like T39, but really had a better week than kind of the final result shows, which was a little bit encouraging. A lot of these guys have just been in a weird lull, and that's what makes it like such an intriguing top of the board. You know what I mean? Like a lot of skill sets that you could easily believe in, but just kind of in weird spots right now, and Sungjae is one of those guys.
Yeah, he hasn't been like popping a ton lately, and I'm very interested to see how he kind of gets up there. But I do think, kind of to your point, he's one of those guys that can go super low, and that's what I like. That's definitely what I like here. So, so I think that's my guy. That's actually where I think that's where I'm starting my card, right? Yeah. I don't think I have another bet so far. So I'm probably gonna end up starting the card there at that 23-1 with the boost. Harman, I'm gonna debate on it. I'm probably gonna go like for a top 10 or something. I'm gonna look for that, but Eckroat, I'm not gonna get there. Beniana, 50-1. Steven Jägermeister, 50-1. Alex Smalley's 55. Chris Kirk and Sepp Straka, 60-1. And then Taylor Moore is 60-1. Who Taylor Moore, actually, I think he does pretty well on Donald Ross courses too. I don't know, Jack, what's your interest level here between Eckroat, who I know you actually have some interest in, but that number is not great, and Taylor Moore?
Yeah, I should have just bet Eckroat at 80-1. I really should have pulled trigger when I saw that, because I knew that was a line that was not going to stay after what he did Sunday at the Travelers, and he's just been in some really good form recently. Yeah, man, I do like Eckroat. I just don't think I can buy him after the dip. This range is where it does get there's some names here that I do like. Chris Kirk has been not good, but I do kind of like Chris Kirk.
He's missed like 4 straight cuts now?
Yeah,
3 straight?
Not been good, but this
course. But I'm on him.
I like Chris Kirk, and I think there's a 65 out there at other places as well. So he's someone that I've been eyeing a little bit. I've seen a lot of love for Beniana this week because he just absolutely pelts the shit out of the ball and has no regard for where it's going. So this is kind of the course for him. Don't know if I'm going to get there, though. That feels like it might not be a big enough number. But again, maybe I should just stop number hunting. But the guys in this range that I've liked actually are, funny enough, I like Chris Kirk, I like Taylor Moore, and I like Adam Hadwin. Those are the 3 guys that are here in this like 50 to 65 range that I've kind of had my eye on right now.
Well, I'm a Kirk guy.
Absolutely.
So I'll give you a little something here. 3 years he's been here, each of his last 3, and he's only been here 3 times. But gain strokes putting each time. Putting will be important. He's also finished no worse than T21, T17, T12, the other 2. First in strokes gained total past 24, Donald Ross Designs. Saw that in an article. I think it's Matt Vicenzi that writes that from Action Network. So shout out to him for that stat right there for the Donald Ross Designs strokes gained total. Yeah, man, a lot to like with Chris Kirk here, even though he's kind of, I don't know how many miscuts he's had in a row, but
I'll take a gander. It's not been good. It's not been good for him since the spring.
No, it has. It's not been good since that victory, really.
He's missed 3 cuts in a row, and since his win, he has 1 top 10, and it was a 10th.
Yikes. Okay, we're riding though. Let's go.
To be fair, this slate that he's played though, not good for him. Like U.S. Open cut, not a Chris Kirk site. The Memorial cut, not a Chris Kirk site. Charles Schwab played really tough this year, not a Chris Kirk site. PGA Championship, Wells Fargo designated event, RBC Heritage designated event, Masters before that. So at the same time, it has been a slate that like you don't envision Chris Kirk doing well at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is the style of courses that we see Chris Kirk do well at. And we saw him T10 at the Valero Texas Open, a weaker field event that allows for a little more scoring. So yeah, I'm going to be on Chris Kirk.
Now that you say that too, we really haven't been on him lately.
No, I think we've handled our Kirk betting responsibly.
We have, yeah. Bet responsibly.
And somehow after he got a win for you, you didn't like love to go blow money on him after. That's like
I know.
Betting classic is like, this guy won money for me once. Now it's time for me to throw it all away and get even again.
I've refrained. I've somehow like kept it in check. But I have mentioned him. We've mentioned him.
We have.
We've talked a little bit about him. I might have bet him once or twice within that run, but like it never felt like it was like, oh, going over the top. But another guy here kind of close to these odds, 66-1. Well, you did mention Adam Hadwin, who you got some love for. Bo Hosler, 66-1. JJ Spawn, 66-1, who I believe kind of a course fit here. Patrick Rogers is 66-1. And then the dude, Rybread, 65-1. I just skipped right past his name. You can't skip right past Aaron Rybread. Absolutely love him. Fire him up.
The Reuben.
Oh, shit. The Reuben. How did I forget? It's the Reuben. Know. Damn it. Missed that one. Yeah, anybody in here, Jack?
No, but you love you some Aaron Rye.
I do.
I can't get on any of these guys. I can't bet Bo Hosler. I've seen him be bad on Sunday a lot.
Bo knows golf. Come on.
Right, he spells it wrong. I've never bet JJ Spawn once in my life, and I don't think it's going to start this week, to be honest. So it's probably a pass for me on most of these guys until we get into triple digits. There's like one other name that I have interest in until we get triple digits.
Well, I don't even know if I have anyone in triple digits. So,
and I think we can even find him at triple digits in other places if you do a little shopping, do a little shoppy.
Probably if it's who I'm. Maybe it's not who I'm thinking. Well, all right. So let's just shout out some of the names here that we are on. I mean, shout out to our boy Adam Shank. I'm not betting him this week. But...
I really thought he was going to do well last week, and he just didn't. He made the cut though.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. If I could find him in triple digits, I'd be more inclined.
Speaking of rising stars, Gordon Sargent, any love this week?
Not at 75-1. No, can't do it.
Justin Suh. I am fire him up.
Man, the putter is so good, but it just continues to be that one round for Justin Suh that just keeps.
That's what we need, Jack.
We just need him to put it all together for one tournament. The dude's gained strokes putting for the last like 13 events. He's been so good on the greens. I don't really love where the approach numbers are at. Like, he's not gaining an absolute ton. I know that he can get hot with the flat stick, and I've been the one that's been talking about him week in and week out, but As far as an outright goes, I just don't know if I'm there yet on Justin Suh.
Yeah. No, you make some fair points about the approach, especially. Do I dare say it? Do I dare say it?
Dietrich?
Thomas Dietrich.
I knew it. I knew it.
Shots. All right, here we go. Shots. More shots than average predicted from that 50 to 150 yard approach shot bucket this week. So, and Dietrich is 22nd in approach from 125 to 150 yards. Good birdie or better rate. Even better birdie or better conversion rate. He can blast it off the tee. That'll play on some of these holes. So I think Dietrich could be live here. I really do. I don't really like. I'm not willing to put a ton of money on it, but at 90 to 1, if he reaches even triple digits, yeah, I'm gonna put a little 5 sack on it or something.
It's been a while since Dietrich's popped up in a little bit.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit for Dietrich. Are we at shout outs for the shout outs now?
Yeah, I mean, I do have. So, where's our boy Eric Cole?
Is he here? I don't think he's here.
Is he not here?
There's no way his number would be this big here. No,
that's what I'm saying.
He's not here.
Damn it. I'm actually upset about that. Cole, why this week?
Yeah, that's tough.
Why'd you take this week off? This absolutely could have been his win.
He would have been like 40 to 1, to be honest.
Oh man, I had some great Eric Cole stats too.
Yeah, that's tough, bud.
All right, doesn't matter. We'll use it next time, and we'll bet him next time because he's a top 40 lock.
He's a killer, and he weighs like 130 pounds after you just threw him into the lake with jeans on.
Yeah, dude, soaking wet. This guy is.
He's skin and bones. I think Taylor Pendrith's interesting. 100 to 1. Always, he does well here. Last time he played well, he's not on a good run right now. Last time he played well was at the AT&T Pebble Beach. Another shorter track, and maybe that's just kind of the jam for Taylor Pendrith is, even though he is a little bit of a bomber for whatever reason, it seems like so far in his PGA Tour career, he's done better on these shorter, scoreable courses. So I kind of have interest in Pendrith at 100 to 1. I absolutely have interest in Mark Hubbard 100 to 1, one of the best players in this field in terms of approach in the last 24 rounds. I referenced when he has the putter going, he ends up usually finishing good. You're basically giving me the same number almost that he was last week in a designated event. Sure, he didn't have a great finish that I was hoping for, but there's no reason to not get back on him, in my opinion, at triple digits in a much weaker event. So I got some love for Mark Hubbard. I got some love for S.H. Kim, who I've seen talked about a lot throughout this week, and someone who I don't think a lot of people know can absolutely nuke the ball off the tee as well. And same with Cameron Champ, man. I think Cameron Champ at 125 to 1 is interesting. He's one of those guys that just pops up at those like 4 courses. There are like 4 courses that he plays well at. It's like the Sanderson, the Masters, oddly enough, he plays well at, Mexico, and here. So I have a little interest in Cam Champ. And then, honestly, out of all the up and comers that are in this field, we mentioned Ludwig. We haven't talked about Sam Bennett yet. We talked about Gordon Sargent, who I can't believe Gordon Sargent has a lower number than Sam Bennett. That's actually a crime.
That's ridiculous.
It's actually ridiculous. I think Akshay is the best value bet. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but you can get Akshay at 150 to 1. Now, one disclaimer here: the dude absolutely can't putt anywhere that doesn't have water around it. Like he puts well at Corrales, puts well at Mexico, has that Corn Ferry Tour win in the Bahamas. Like there's not the ocean around. This dude usually can't putt for crap, but I think his number is actually the best value out of all these guys. Now, Ludwig's the better player. I think Sam Bennett's the better player. Gordon Sargent is probably the better player, but Akshay's the one who actually has some top finishes in PGA Tour events. Mm-hmm. He's the one that's 150 to 1. I know he's not the talk of the buzz right now, but I think that's actually a pretty fair number. And I think there are some decent guys down here, and we've seen 2 winners come from over 100 to 1 in the 4 years of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So I do think these guys are live because really, if you just have a hot putter, you can kind of compete here.
How crazy is a 300 to 1 Troy Merritt?
Not that crazy, I don't think. What's he been up to? I haven't heard his name in a whole goddamn year, I don't think.
No idea. That's why I'm asking how crazy it is. Because
Troy Merritt's got a case of the going bads.
okay, yeah. Well, let's stay up.
Hold on. Let me get this stat for you. Wow. He's missed his last 14 cuts in individual events. During that whole stretch of those 14 missed cuts, his only non-missed cut was a T13 at the Zurich Classic, in which he had a teammate. He hasn't made a cut in an individual event since the Sony Open, the second event of the 2023 calendar year, and it was a T65. That's his only made cut this entire season.
Did he forget how to golf, like, completely?
Oh, yeah, it's bad. He did gain 2.75 strokes on approach last week, but unfortunately, he lost 3.75 strokes putting.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm out on Troy.
My thought process there was maybe he can get hot with the putter. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, there's probably better bets down there.
Yeah, probably. And probably not at the same time. I'm not even going past
Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson's a historically good Donald Ross player.
Dude, he's been awful, though, hasn't he?
So bad. I mean, there's a reason he's 250 to 1 here. Hey, he made the cut last week. He came T7 at the Valspar a couple months ago.
I've seen some love for Vincent Norman this week.
Yeah, he just can't putt worth dick, but he can play.
But I think the only person I'd probably consider down here would be Sam Bennett, and you said Akshay. I like the Akshay call too. Brendan Todd's kind of interesting. I know we're going back up, but
it's the shout out for the shout out section.
Yeah, we're just shouting out names. CT Pan, sorry, see you later. Ches Reavie on this course?
Maybe. Honestly, that might be a play.
That might be a play.
Ches was good. Ches was good for 3 rounds. Really good.
You talk about former champs here, Nate Lashley. What the hell has he been up to?
He went wire to wire and probably still drunk from it.
Probably.
What has Nate Lashley been up to?
All that time ago, he's still drunk.
Actually, Nate Lashley hasn't been he's finished inside the top 40 in 5 of his last 7.
Maybe a top 40 bet.
That might be a play.
I think I might consider that then.
Old man Nate Lashley. I forgot that he went wire to wire here.
That's crazy. But yeah, I think we've pretty much summed it up at this point.
Yeah, that's about all I got.
As far as bets go, like, you got any props or anything like that?
No, but I'm still chasing first round leaders, so I'm sure I'll probably have some this week. I'm probably gonna bet Ricky first round leader too. Just
double dip it on Ricky.
Put all my chips in one basket. Just here. Take my money.
I mean, you might as well just not bet anyone else. Just put all your whatever you were planning to spend on Ricky.
I thought about just put everything on Ricky this week. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just do Ricky and Sungjae and Mark Hubbard. There's no way I'm not betting Mark Hubbard.
Mark Hubbard's a good call.
I'm in on the Mark Hubbard Express.
He wasn't that great though last week.
No, I didn't look at his numbers. If he putted bad, then I'll feel better about it, because when he puts bad, he doesn't do good. He actually putted good.
Oh,
off the tee is what killed him. He had his worst off the tee week of the entire year.
You wouldn't expect that though this week.
No, I wouldn't. So I'm very comfortable with bouncing back with Mark Hubbard.
There we go. So no prop bets though so far. I mean, we mentioned some top 40, top 10 might be plays.
Still got another day too.
Yeah, we got time. Are you gonna write another article for tomorrow, or what are you up to?
Yeah, I should have an article out tomorrow. It's gonna be pure chaos for me tomorrow though, as the Blackhawks will be bringing home Connor Bedard at about 6:15 CT. But yeah, I should have a final bets article out. That would be. I imagine I'm gonna get 1 to 2 hours of sleep tonight, Joey. So the grind is real, but for all the followers out there, this is what I do it for. So. Hopefully they pay me a fucking winner this week for my work, though.
Yeah, you need to be repaid. You need to be repaid for your hard work and labor. And hey, guess what? I mean, we just enjoy this. I mean, you obviously enjoy this enough to put the research in every week and then to pump out 2 articles still while, keeping track with the Blackhawks and doing your thing on that side. So, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Anybody watching, listening to your final picks article. I guess now we're in the one and done territory, which good news and bad news. Bad news for you, good news for me. Jack, I am the new leader. Finally, it only took me, Jesus, since when? Since when did these seasons even start?
September, I think.
It only took me, I can't count right now, 10 months?
Yeah, give or take.
9 months? Whatever, doesn't matter.
Better late than never.
Somehow I'm in the lead. I've actually had, like we were talking about pre-show, I'm actually on a pretty good run right here, and you're just you're hitting the run that I was on to start the season, not doing so well with the one and done. And now I have no idea what I'm doing because I'm in the driver's seat and I can pick first. So I'm not used to this. I don't know what I'm going to do here.
Pressure's on. Yeah, you've been on a great run as of late. So you've rattled off, let me get it here so to make sure I say this accurately. You've rattled off Cam Smith, a 9th at the PGA, Victor Hovland, 16th at the Chuck Schwab, Ricky 9th at the Memorial, Scotty Scheffler 3rd at the U.S. Open, Russell Henley 19th last week at the Travelers. In that same stretch, I had Kuchar 43rd at the Byron Nelson, Rahm 50th at the PGA, Jordan Spieth miscut at the Schwab, Cantlay 30th at the Memorial, Xander 10th, but double points for 20th at the U.S. Open, and then Tommy missed the cut last week. So it has just been a complete 180 here in the one and done. Joey now has the lead by 28 points, and we're down to our final 9 events of the year here. So the pressure is on. The pressure is on. And what an interesting event for you to take the lead at. Because I don't know who the hell I'm going to use here, quite honestly, still as of right now. So I'm going to do my best to figure this out in the next 30 seconds. But now you get to start. So who you got?
Yeah. I snuck in at the right time, I feel like. I pulled my best Brian Harmon impersonation, little weaseled my way to the top of the one and done board. But I'm going to go with Sanjay. I don't think have I picked him yet?
Yeah, you have used Sungjae. You used where'd you use Sungjae? You used Sungjae at the Century Tournament of Champions to kick off 2023.
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
I don't even know what he did there. It's probably awful. My God, are you kidding me? Now I really don't know what I'm doing. All right, it was either that or I don't want to go super strong here. Probably should, though. Have I used – I've probably used Brian Harmon, right?
I was glad you say that. You used the Weasel the very next week at the Sony Open after Sungjae.
Oh, my God, dude. What? Jesus. See, this is why I need the list in front of me when we're doing this. Chris Kirk?
You used Chris Kirk for a victory, baby. You used him at the Honda.
That's right. That's right. Of course.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough in these parts.
Damn it, dude. Like, do I go with a young gun?
You gotta go Ludwig?
I was thinking it. I don't think I've used Tony, though, have I?
Ooh. No, you have not used Finau, I don't believe.
Let's just go.
You have Finau available.
Let's go high floor in this spot. I'm hoping it's a high floor. He feels good about the tournament. He thinks somebody's going to win at 30 under. It must mean he's feeling good about it. Plus, he won last year. Let's go with Finau. I like that pick.
All right. Tony Finau it is. Where did I use Finau? I used him a while ago, I believe. Yeah, I used Finau at the Waste Management. Came 14th. Okay. Whew. Have I used him? Oh. We're going all in this week.
I knew it.
It's Ricky.
I knew it.
It's Ricky time, baby.
I like it. Hey, put your balls on the table. If that's what it is, you've been calling this forever. I hope he does it for you. And even though I'm probably not betting the top of the board, and I really hate not betting an outright on someone who I have as a one and done, which is why Finau was not my first choice here. Yeah, I hope he does it for you, man, because that's gonna be one hell of a payday. You're gonna be hitting up DQ.
It would be nice.
You're gonna be hitting up DQ. But Jack, we got to get out of here because we got things to do. A Cubs game to watch. Hopefully you're doing well. I don't even know what's happening right at this very second. And then you've got Blackhawks stuff. Go ahead and go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports content and podcasting needs. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you always know when we go live. Me and Jack do this every week, previewing the golf tournaments that are about to take place, and then try to predict some winners along the way. We have had pretty good success this season as a team. I don't know where we're at right now, Jack. Is it 8 outrights?
It's 8 outrights on the year. That's like when we both hit Brooks, that only counts as 1 as well. So we have 8. We have 8 total.
That's fine by me, though. It's fine by me. 8 weeks out of the season, you're hitting it outright. I think that's pretty good. You know, I mean, we want to get that to double digits, though, I think, before the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we get to 9 this week. Can we get an outright? Can we get an outright? You can follow Jack at Jack Bushman2. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. You can follow our account on Twitter, Golf on Tap, at On Tap Golf, I believe. Jack, any final thoughts for this tournament? What are you looking forward to? Sign us out here.
It is a bit of a toughie because it is just this weird spot in the schedule. It's not the deepest of fields. But I do think it is going to be entertaining seeing a course where guys can just go out and absolutely attack for a wide majority of these holes. I don't know how much I'm going to be watching until the weekend because it feels like one of those tournaments where you're just kind of hoping your guy makes the cut and then gets hot going into it. But just hopefully we can just ride the momentum. Like I said, hopefully we can get a win this week and start feeling good about where we're heading leading up to the final major championship of the season with the Open Championship. So yeah, hopefully that's what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully Ricky taking this one down, Rocket Mortgage. She's had some ties with the business. Hopefully he can go and get the dub at their event this week.
It would be nice. I want to be on this microphone 1 week from now celebrating the victory. With that said, we are Golf on Tap, part of the On Tap Sports Network. We will see you next week. Good luck. Cash your tickets. Crack them. Lock them. Be safe. And fuck them.